On WhatsApp, no one can see or hear your personal messages. Whether it's a voice call, message, or sending a password. To WhatsApp, it's all just this. So whether you're sharing the streaming password in the family chat or trading those late-night voice messages that could basically become a podcast, your personal messages stay between you, your friends, and your family. No one else. Not even us. WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone.
A massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, especially these days. 8 different settings, adjustable intensity, plus it's heated, and it just feels so good. Yes, a massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, but when it can come with a car, suddenly it seems quite practical. The all-new 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan, packed with premium features like available massaging front seats, it only feels extravagant.
This episode is brought to you by the world's first reposado from Tequila Herradura. Made with slow-cooked, hand-harvested agave sealed into oak barrels and aged 11 months. Before being enjoyed in your glass. Experience the world's first reposado. Tequila Herradura. Please drink responsibly. Responsibility.org. Tequila Herradura. 40% alcohol by volume. Imported by Brown-Forman, Louisville, Kentucky. Herradura is a registered trademark. Copyright 2025 Brown-Forman Corporation.
Aderlin's assassin slips into the night to hunt her prey, successfully avenging Princess Nehemia's death by murdering Grave, a fellow assassin she competed against to become King's champion. Celaena presents Grave's head to the king and Minister Molson, who is ultimately responsible for hiring Grave to assassinate Nehemia. The assassin presents a list of traitors to the king before checking on Archer and warning him to leave Rifthold or face the consequences. Finally, Celaena visits her friend's burial site to honor her with a funeral song, the likes of which leads Chaol to suspect Celaena's heritage. In a last act of friendship, Celaena packs away Nehemia's belongings to be collected, only to discover what the princess knew and was hiding from Celaena, which leads the assassin to solving the riddle in Queen Elena's tomb. While Dorian and Celaena try to make amends, Chaol hunts down clues to Celaena's past in the library.
Hey there, we're Book Talk for Book Talk with Jack and Amy, your book besties who take the novels you love seriously. This is Jack.
And I'm Amy, and we embrace and respect modern fantasy, romance, and romantasy books written by women. And so it's in our nature to analyze these books as we would any other novel we might have dissected in school.
With our combined 13 years of literary academic training, we use our education to analyze and give voice to reasons why you may love or hate today's popular books.
This is part 1 of this week's episode, where we're discussing chapters 35 through 38 of Sarah J. Maas's second Throne of Glass novel, Crown of Midnight.
Before we dive in, let's talk about Spilt, spoilers, perspective, interpretation, language, and themes.
Spoilers. While our discussion is about Crown of Midnight, important context from the first 3 novels in the series will be discussed without spoiler warnings. That is specifically Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, and Heir of Fire. This is not a read-along for anyone who hasn't read at least these 3 books, and you will be spoiled from here on out. So please take this as your only spoiler warning. For all other spoilers beyond Heir of Fire and other SJM works, we will keep those to the breadcrumbs and broomsticks area at the end of the episode.
Perspective and interpretation. What we discuss in this episode are strictly our personal interpretation of the text. We do not speak for Sarah J. Maas and in no way know her intentions for her books or characters. We also know our listeners have their own personal views and opinions, and we encourage you to share your thoughts with us because every perspective and interpretation is worth exploring, and I'm particularly excited about that this episode.
I know, she's been keeping me in suspense. Language. Even though we say we try to not swear, we do swear a lot. Explicit language does occur. You've been warned.
Buckle the fuck up. Themes. We also discuss some pretty heavy subjects throughout the podcast that can include themes of sex, violence, abuse, depression, self-harm, and death. While we will do our best to give trigger warnings for the darker themes, we will discuss these topics when they are important to the text. Listener discretion is advised.
As always, we love keeping the conversation going because our listeners are so good at finding things we've overlooked or missed completely. You can share your interpretation of the text with us by posting on social media, tagging us in your stories, sending us DMs, or submitting to the form on our website. We also post more exclusive content and host live streams for our Patreon supporters. You can find us at patreon.com/booktalkforbooktalk. This week, we ask ourselves the question, are Celaena's actions in these chapters the stages of grief playing out? If so, are they bringing her closer toward acceptance?
We all know that stage of grief, of murder.
Murder. I feel it often.
Yeah. You're not even grieving.
I'm grieving the loss of my free time.
Yeah, that's fair. Themes we see in this section include foreshadowing and moonlight, as well as stages of grief. Now, before we go into this episode, one thing we asked listeners was, hey, if you do not like Chaol, give us a thought out example. Like, don't just say, I don't like Chaol or something. And also, we encourage people to use our words against us. Like, look at the text, tell us what it is about Chaol you do not like. This listener wrote a dissertation. So this is long, but I feel like it's very critical as to this episode. And Amy, I can't wait for you to hear. And you guys, listeners, you too. This is from Emily. Please enjoy my argument for my general frustration about Chaol. Sorry, it's a long one. Chaol Westfall as a mirror of a modern patriarchal loyalty. She titles this. Like, she titles each, like, this is her essay. And then here's the thesis. Chaol is introduced as a character defined by moral integrity, loyalty, and empathy. He cares deeply for those around him and offers a stabilizing presence in Celaena Sardothien's turbulent life. However, Chaol's loyalty does not lie solely with individuals, but with structures, norms, and systems that afford him security and status. In this way, he becomes a literary symbol of men in modern society who may sympathize with the oppressed, yet ultimately prioritize preserving the system that protect their own comfort and privilege. Right there, I was like, done. You did it. Like, well, you won me, babe.
And it's so funny. I was just listening to the edit for episode 4, and you call him out for his white privilege.
Yeah, but, I could have done it more. And so she has 4 points before the conclusion.
Okay.
And then the afterthought. Again, this is long, but I think well worth it. And this is what we asked for, right? Is to give us people's thoughts. So the first one, the quote-unquote good guy with hidden loyalties. Chaol represents the archetype of the so-called quote-unquote good guy. He has no malicious intentions. He does not exploit others for personal gain, and he genuinely cares about the people in his life, Dorian, Nehemia, and Celaena. Yet, Crown of Midnight reveals that his deepest loyalties is not to justice, but to stability and hierarchy, particularly to the king, who embodies power. Quote, I don't want you to know the truth, not if it means losing you. She's even citing the text, like, fucking God, Emily. Great. This line becomes emblematic of how quote-unquote good men often choose ignorance or denial when the truth threatens this worldview. What drives Chaol is not cruelty, but a desire to preserve order and thus his own place within it.
I already have no arguments against this.
No, I'm like, do we go and redo the last season and a half? Because like, holy shit.
Nope, keep going.
I can't wait for future seasons, and I'm going to take everything Emily said. Something similar happened, I feel like, in ACOTAR or in Akamov, where someone made a good point. And I was like, yeah, you're fucking right. I'm sticking with it.
Like Gabriel talking about Lucian. It's just like, okay.
Yeah,
I'm wrong.
This is true. Yeah. All right, point 2. Chaol feels empathy for Nehemia, understanding the king's tyranny, and sees Celaena suffering and Dorian's doubt. He even acknowledges that the rebellion has valid roots. Yet he does nothing to change it. He reflects the type of man in politics, corporate life, or everyday society who expresses sympathy for marginalized groups but refuses to act in ways that would threaten his own position in the hierarchy. Chaol wants justice as long as it doesn't cost him his safety. Yeah, girl, get it. Point 3, titled Idolizing a Safe Version of Womanhood. Oh, I have Emily. Like a literary boner right now. Like, okay. Chaol's love for Celaena is real, but conditional. He wants her to be beautiful, strong, and a little broken, but not too powerful. He wants to love her, but only the version of her that fits into his worldview. When he learns who she is, he pulls away. He cannot bring himself to love a woman who is greater, more dangerous, and more powerful than himself. He reflects how men in society may admire quote-unquote strong women as long as they remain non-threatening, agreeable, and within limits. Quote, you cannot pick and choose what parts of her to love. I feel like that's a future quote, but it's fair. It's valid. It's as if she's speaking to every man who claims to love women, but only certain sanitized versions of them. Point number 4, titled, The Archetype of the Comfortable Passive Ally. Chaol represents the kind of man who means well but is unwilling to risk anything to enact change. He supports equality in theory but refrains from challenging injustices in practice. He sees the harm done by the king. He knows how he suppresses magic, kills innocent people, and manipulates power, but Chaol remains loyal because the system gives him a safe, predictable role to play. Conclusion. A modern patriarch in a fantasy cloak. Chaol is not a villain. He is a complex human and vulnerable, but that is precisely why he becomes such a powerful literary reflection of how patriarchal systems are not upheld solely through malice, but through fear, loyalty, and comfort. Men like Chaol are everywhere. They praise strong women, express empathy for the oppressed, and claim to want justice. But when the chaos is between solidarity and stability, they choose stability and, in doing so, reinforce the patriarchy. Celaena must defend the king, but to truly find herself, she must liberate herself from men who love her, but do not fully accept her. Afterthoughts. No, I'm not going to read this because it's in Queen of Shadow, so I'll, again, dear God, she kept like the breadcrumbs. I'll save that for later. And then finally, Chaol only likes Celaena when she is the king's champion and is in the point of also being willing to conform to the system. When she starts moving out of this is when they start getting in conflict.
Yeah, she's absolutely right. And you know what hurts the most is the fact that not only do I see it in people around me, I see Chaol Westfall in myself and the comfort I have with the positions of privilege that I enjoy in my life. And it's a harsh reminder that empathy without solidarity is pointless.
Yeah. I mean, throughout the season, I keep talking about social responsibility, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like I started having the thought, but never made that bridge. So thank you, Emily. And I wanted to read that because we see a shift in Chaol in this episode. And from here on out, I am taking Emily's lens.
Yeah.
This has genuinely shifted my mind so much that that's now how I'm interpreting Chaol from here on out. Like,
yeah.
Great job.
I think I do not disagree with anything Emily has said. I think for Crown of Midnight, I'm going to throw Chaol a bone because he has to do 22 years of conditioning.
Yeah.
And 22 years of being in a system that benefits him. And that's not easy and requires a lot of self-awareness. And Chaol is not at that point. Now, when we get to future books and he persists this way, he gets no sympathy from me.
Yeah, I think some of the points that we made, and another listener was like, hey, here are some things I don't necessarily agree with, of that he's the only one who we feel like gets a Celaena, that no one's actually there for her except for Chaol. I still think that some of those moments are true in moments where we talked about them. In episodes like today and going forward, not so much. However, like you said, he has years of conditioning he has to break through, and no one's challenging him on that yet. Like, that's not, like, no one's sitting here. Nehemia is challenging Celaena, but no one's really challenging Chaol on being better. And like you said, when he does become challenged and when he pushes that and he, like, you know, doesn't rise to the challenge is when you're like, Chaol, the fuck?
I think what I will say is, you know, the moments when we've said Celaena is falling for Chaol because he's the one who understands her the best. I think we also have to understand, you know, we're limited to Chaol and Celaena's points of view of each other. And so in Celaena's mind, Chaol is the one who understands her best or who has understood her the most because she's probably revealed the most of herself up until that point. That doesn't mean it's actually true. So,
I mean, and she's similar to him. She's not rising up to the challenge right now. She's comfortable in her in where she's at. Like, she's not, Nehemia keeps saying, hey, like, what are you going to do? Still keep being the king's champion. And that's the game plan until she can get free. So, you know, like, yeah, she does understand Chaol. Chaol understands her. They are both complacent. They have the sympathy, but they're not rising to meet that.
Yeah.
So just a great place to start the episode. And let's go forward. The chapter starts and we are no longer dealing with the Celaena we have ever known. We are truly getting a new side of her. We are getting the assassin. Quote, there would be no candles for these midnight deeds, no ivory horn to signal the start of this hunt. Moonlight is completely gone. There is nothing good here. There's nothing truthful and honest. We are in the dark because, like, not even a single, like, she doesn't even want candles. She doesn't even want anything going on. And I also, you're going to keep hearing me call out points of moonlight because there are, I feel like, a lot of references of moonlight in particular in these chapters.
Yeah, there certainly are. And I'm going to leave those to Jack. What I want to start by acknowledging in this first sentence are the visuals. There are a lot of important visuals that are going to happen. And the sole purpose of them is juxtaposition. We are seeing the juxtaposition of who Celaena is mentally right now compared to who she was at the start of Crown of Midnight. This is a darker parallel of the Celaena that we know. This is someone completely different who's been driven toward the edge. And we get a sense of that, right? Where she was angelic innocence earlier in the book, often dressed in white. We now see no ivory horn, no light. All of that is completely covered in darkness.
Yep. I mean, to your point of how she's dressed, everything about her is ready to kill, even to her outfit. She's completely removing herself from her own identity because she's wearing that mask. She is ready to go. And she's stripping away her identity of the feminine completely, right? She is now a weapon. And we know, like, when I say, like, the identity of the feminine, like, we know she loves dresses. Like, this isn't her. I'm not saying that women can't be assassins, you know, equal opportunity here. But this is a side of her that she's always found comfort in. And you can see the more she embraces that, the more comfortable she is in her skin and her environment. So she is stripping that completely away. And we're going to see her continue to strip that away later this episode. And not only is Celaena different, and we, the reader, know that she's different, even Fleetfoot is not into this version of Celaena. Quote, Celaena locked her bedroom and spared a glance at Fleetfoot, who cowered under the bed as she hauled open the secret door. The dog was still quietly whining as Celaena strode into the passage. Fleetfoot has always represented Celaena in a way. We've always talked about that. I would like to think that Fleetfoot is the good in Celaena. And the fact that, you know, she's hiding underneath the bed, she's you know, scared of what's about to happen, of her getting ready to go and torture. I think that's a really big clue for how significantly bad it is of an act that she's about to do.
I think that's a great point. And I think that, again, is another visual reminder that this is not the Celaena we're accustomed to. That Celaena has been, like, locked inside and is meant to cower. And that's because Otterland's assassin is in predator mode, and Fleetfoot knows it. Celena's inside good person knows it, and they are cowering. Another visual reminder of what's going on, quote, this was not the sort of hunt that began at the front door. Now, this visual makes me think of how battle was done, like in the Civil War in the United States or in 1776, where it's all like organized lines and they march together. Like, it was civilized.
I was like, this is such a specific time frame of, like, in America in 1770.
I think of it only because of, like, the videos I've watched, historical fiction videos about those times, and how everyone's in straight lines and on the command, both groups come at each other and then they point and they shoot, or whatever the case is. It's very proper, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, and doesn't seem like the best method.
It's not strategically cunning.
I mean, who are we to know?
Well, that's why. Okay, I'm not going to get into history right now. I'm going to close that part of my brain. The point I'm trying to make is that using the front door, meeting your foe on the battlefield in a civilized manner with a proper warning is the honorable thing to do. And that is Chaol. Chaol is the honorable, civilized one. Celaena is in no mood to be proper or honorable. She is going to use any means necessary to get her way.
This is not an honor kill.
No, not at all.
No, like this is a torture. We posted a question to our listeners, which we'll read at the very end, and their answers are very interesting to me. But I mean, we are set, regardless of whether we, the reader, might feel like it's justified because he killed Nehemia. The reading the text is setting us up to feel very uncomfortable and that this is not a good thing.
Yeah.
Celaena needs weapons. So what does she do? She decides to go raid the tomb, which is so violating. And it's starting to remove the good, right? Because you're like, you don't take the dead people's jewels. Like she's even taking the jewels and we know she's going to use those jewels to buy off Graves' location.
Mm-hmm.
But she's going into the tomb, and in particular, we have this, quote, moonlight spilled onto the landing, illuminating the open door of the tomb and Mort's little bronze face. Moonlight is spilling into the floor. It's like trying to cleanse her. It's trying to bring the good in her. And I think that it's actually going to be a great counterbalance to Celaena's actual acts, like here she is committing this not great situation, raiding the tomb while she's in this pure moonlight. Celaena straight up raids the weapons and the jewels, quote, daggers, hunting knives. She took whatever she could strap onto her belt or tuck into her boots. She took a handful of gold and jewels and shoved that into a pocket too. It's very violating. It's stealing. Like those aren't hers to take. And she is taking it from the dead, from a place that has continued to be a very sacred place. At one point, Mort will even compare Elena to a god. And like this is almost a religious type of place. And she's just taking whatever the hell she wants. But that's very much her journey, right? And I think what's every single thing that I get, like, I'm like, damn, Celaena, you're going too far. I'm like, you know what, Elena? Elena asked for this. Elena wanted it. So I hope you're happy, Elena. Take this shit from her. She deserves it.
I mean, one way to look at this is the presence of moonlight is actually Elena's blessing. Like, you know what? It's okay. Because this was always the plan. We needed you to break.
Yep. Yay, you're breaking.
Woo!
Then Celaena takes the big sword, but it's not Elena's sword that she takes. Quote, Celaena approached the stand that displayed Damaris, sword of Gavin, the first king of Adarlan. The hollowed-out golden pommel glinted in the moonlight as she pulled the scabbard from the stand and strapped it across her back. This feels so wrong because she's supposed to be doing Elena's bidding. She hasn't heard a word from Gavin. We don't know what the fuck he wants her to do. And yet she's using Gavin's sword, which feels wrong. I mean, we know Elena was a warrior. We know that she was capable. Granted, it's not like her weapons are out laying around. But once again, like the last time she went to go save Chaol, she took Chaol's sword, right? Now she's going to go kill Grave. She's taking Gavin's sword. It's just, none of it's hers. Like it's a man's sword that she's wielding.
Yeah, I wonder why this is the choice. Part of me thinks maybe it's connected to the fact that it was Adarlan's first king, and Grave ultimately, although he's going to be hired by somebody else, it's all connected back to the corruption of Adarlan. So it's appropriate for Adarlan's first king, the good king, to cut them all down. On the other hand, she's going to kill Grave to get the truth out of him. And Gavin always got the truth when he wielded the sword. So that's where my mind went.
And as a writing device, it's a good way for when Celaena puts two and two together later and was like, wait a minute, I need to use the sword. The sword that I just very conveniently used to kill someone.
Yep. Yep.
But it's one of those setup where it makes sense. Like she doesn't have any weapons. Of course she needs a sword. What's the only sword? Gavin's sword.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the clue leads her to Gavin. Like that's actually a very good writing setup.
Yeah, it is. Now, Mort, like Jack, is not very happy about this situation. Quote, "That is a sacred sword," Mort hissed. "Wherever you are going, whatever you plan to do, you debase that sword by taking it from here. Aren't you afraid of angering the gods?" Celaena just laughed quietly before she took the stairs. Celaena is so far gone that even the act of debasing a sacred object and risking the anger of the gods does not give her pause. That is how far she has fallen. The fact that she laughs at Mort's comment also suggests, I think, that she finds either joy or irony in the act of defiling the object. And it's almost like a fuck you to the gods. She's baiting the gods. The gods have never favored her. They've never been on her side. So what does she care?
Yep.
And I don't blame her.
No, not at all. I love the way that this chapter is written. I love just the way that SJM describes things. I love that every action, every scene is kind of broken up into different beats. There's a pause in between each of these moments. And now we are with Celaena while she's leaving the castle, and she's leaving in the only way she knows how. Quote, "She relished the burn in her arms as she hauled the sewer gate up, rotating the ancient wheel until it was fully raised, dripping with filth, and the water beneath the castle flowed freely into the small river outside." We are making it very clear that this is not a cleansing water. This is not a good act that she's about to do. She is about to leave with the filth to go commit this act. There is nothing baptismal about this. And there is only bad in her actions here. The night is really a throwback of when she went to go save Chaol / Nehemia. Quote, "Sewage and puddles, excrement lay beneath every window of the slums, and the cobble streets were cracked and misshapen after many hard winters. The buildings leaned against each other, some so ramshackle that even the poorest citizen had abandoned them. On most streets, the taverns overflowed with drunks and whores, and everyone else who sought temporary relief from their miserable lives." So it's very similar to how it's described when she goes to Chaol, but it just feels so much more harsh now. Like it feels like these whores and these pathetic assholes in these slums, and you're all miserable and I hate you all. Like I think there's a lot of undertones happening here, but I think part of that is because Celaena is now part of this environment. She is now one with the slums. She got here because she literally escaped with the filth, with the crap, and she is the slum, and she, I think, hates herself as much as she hates what she's seeing.
I think that's exactly right. To your point, we've already seen the slums thanks to when Celaena went to go save Chaol. We don't necessarily need the second description, but what it does, what SJM achieves in providing this description, is it reflects how Celaena is feeling, how she thinks of herself, and it is not a pretty picture. Talk about self-loathing.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get better.
Woo! So many books of self-loathing. For the first time, we're really seeing the assassin. Quote, "Once she found out where Grave was hiding, she turned his skin inside out. Worse than that, actually." Celaena's made very similar threats in Throne of Glass and in this book, Crown of Midnight. And each time she's made threats like this, it's always kind of been a little bit of an eye roll to me where it's like, okay, sure you are, Celaena. Especially like if you think back to Throne of Glass, she was chained and starved and emaciated and was like, I am going to kill all of these guards. And it's like, no, you're not. This is the first time that she's making a threat and going to follow up on that.
Yeah. And she finally has the strength and ability to do so again.
Yep.
Now, Celaena goes to a place we've never seen her go before, but we understand she has frequented before in Dovier. Quote, "In the subterranean warren below, one could find the cutthroats, the monsters, the damned of Otterlin." Symbolically, this was a significant moment. Celaena, since coming back from Endovier, has been in the palace, has been high up, away from the slums, away from this subterranean warren, and now she's descended to be among them again. She is re-assimilating. She is just as damned as the rest of them. Later, she will think, quote, what she planned to do tonight already broke enough rules, crossed too many lines. And I have to ask myself, whose rules, what lines?
Mm-hmm.
And those rules and lines are of the good, right? They're on the side of good, of light, of purity, all the things that she is not right now.
Yep.
Now, there is this one section, and I agree with Jack. This chapter, this set of chapters has to be among my favorite set of chapters so far in the series. I think SJM's really starting to hit her stride, but I do wonder if we still have an area here that isn't quite earned, because I don't know how she came up with this information. And maybe for the sake of pacing, as the author, SJM just had to put it in there. Quote, Grave had undoubtedly received a large fee for his services and could be counted on to now be recklessly spending his blood money, a spree that would not go unnoticed. He wouldn't have left Rifthold. Oh no, he wanted people to know he killed the princess. He wanted to hear himself named the new Otterland's assassin. He wanted Celaena to know too. And she's not wrong. We understand that when we switch over to Grave's point of view.
But how do you know?
But are we convinced? Yeah, are we convinced Celaena knows that about Grave?
I mean,
I don't know.
I think it's the fact that she doesn't even add I could guess, or I wouldn't be surprised if. You know what I mean? Because it feels like very much he is a shitty person. This is what a shitty person would do.
Yeah.
And it would have been beneficial to be like, men like him.
Yes. It's such a small change for her to add a little bit of Celaena back into the narrative, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Celaena knew other assassins like Grave, or she knew from Grave's behavior, blah, 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 blah. He wanted all the,
Yeah.
There wasn't enough Celaena in that description. It felt like the author telling me what we needed to know.
And right now she's doing a detached Celaena perspective, right? Like this is Celaena, but she's very emotionally detached from all these things. You can still have an emotionally detached observation, but not make it that.
Yeah.
I agree.
This is the part of the story where the Fae magic pauses for capitalism. Growing up, my parents were obsessive about the chore charts and the stickers that we got to use to track our chores and what each completed chore was worth in money.
And now with Acorns Early, you can apply that to today's kids with modern technology. It's genius. Acorns Early is a smart debit card and money app that grows kids' money skills as they grow up.
Start with the in-app chores tracker and teach your kids the value of $1.
Then let your kids set up their own savings goals. Start building healthy money habits early.
Make them work for that PS5.
Absolutely.
Kids can spend what they've earned with their own customizable debit card, giving them the extra sense of independence.
Plus, with Acorns Early, spending limits and real-time spending notifications, parents always stay in control.
This is definitely something I would use if I had kids, because I love nothing more than teaching hard work for reward.
This is what's going to happen when I have kids. You're going to be teaching my kids with Acorns Early.
That's exactly right.
Ready to teach your kids the smart way to earn, save, and spend? Get your first month on us when you head to acornsearly.com/booktalk or download the Acorns Early app.
That's 1 month free when you sign up at acornsearly.com/booktalk. BOOKTALK.
Acorns Early Card is issued by Community Federal Savings Bank, member FDIC, pursuant to license by MasterCard International. Free trial for new subscribers only. Subscription fee starting from $5 per month unless canceled. Terms apply at acorns.com/early terms.
This show is sponsored by Liquid IV.
I'll give you one guess into what's my Stanley right now.
Probably something with electrolytes, like liquid IV.
It's not even funny how true that is. Liquid IV is scientifically formulated to help replenish electrolytes and fluids lost from sweat or exercise, which is perfect because I am both sweating and exercising this summer.
It has 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, plus 8 vitamins and nutrients, all in a single stick. And guess what? They've got Orange Vanilla Dream Hydration right now. It is so nostalgic. Makes me think of summer instantly.
The fact that it has 100% daily value of 4 essential B vitamins, B3, B5, B6, B12, it's an excellent source of vitamin C, and it makes me just feel like I've really accomplished a lot just by drinking one of these.
Powered by Liquid IV Hydroscience, Liquid IV replaces necessary nutrients lost from everyday dehydration, and it doesn't matter if you live somewhere dry or humid, trust me, you're dehydrated.
Just 1 stick and 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone.
It is always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. And if you're like me and are sensitive to everything, it is fantastic.
Savor the last bits of summer with Liquid IV. Tear, pour, live more. Go to liquidiv.com and get 20% off your first order with code BOOKTALK at checkout.
That's 20% off your first order and code BOOKTALK, BOOKTALK, at liquidiv.com.
Prime delivery is fast. How fast are we talking? We're talking puzzle toys and LookPad delivered so fast you can get this puppy under control fast. We're talking chew toys at your door without really waiting fast. Pee pads, cooling mat, and peg hammer fast and fast. And there's training TREATS faster than you can say sit fast. And now we can all relax and order these matching hoodies to get cozy and cute fast. Fast, free delivery. It's on Prime.
Summer's here, and Nordstrom has everything you need for your best dress season ever. From beach days and weddings to weekend getaways and your everyday wardrobe. Discover stylish options under $100 from tons of your favorite brands like Mango, Skims, Princess Polly, and Madewell. It's easy too with free shipping and free returns, in-store order pickup, and more. Shop today in stores, online at Nordstrom.com, or download the Nordstrom app.
Now we switch over to Graves' point of view, and I love that. I love that we get over to his side of things, and we see him being stalked by Celaena. Quote, he turned to see her in the doorway as she called out his name, looking more wraith than human. Celaena's been compared to a wraith many times in this book, to the point where I'm almost thinking were all those times lead up to this very moment where she truly is a wraith, where maybe those moments are hints of this assassin, cold-blooded person inside of her. All of that to lead up to this moment where Celaena goes from being death to causing death.
I think you're right. And we'll get into that again when Celaena goes to visit Nehemia's grave. Because right now, this is the most accurate use of Wraith so far. She's lost herself to the grief and she'll murder because of it. She's literally haunting Grave, stalking him to kill him. What I think is also important for us to know, this is a great scene from Graves' point of view, but it's just cementing the disassociation that Celaena is experiencing right now. And I think as readers, it would be hard for us to empathize with Celaena if we were in her brain when she tortures Grave the way that she does. I think being too close to her narrative would have tainted our view of Celaena. And so SJM, I think, does a brave thing and a smart thing by switching to Grave's point of view.
Especially with the way that Grave describes her, right? Like, he keeps wanting to kill her. He keeps wanting to do horrible things to her. Even though he's afraid, he calls her a bitch. Like, we're in his perspective, and SJM is doubling down that this is not a good man. So even we keep talking about this, that every time Celaena is about to kill someone, there's always a sign of like, this isn't a good human. This is tenfold, right? Because now Celaena's about to torture, and we haven't seen her torture yet. And we have to really dig home that he is a shit person.
Yeah, exactly. That there is no remorse in him. And we're going to see that throughout the narrative, which I will describe. What I love about this, though, Celaena is not subtle. She wants to be seen coming. She's got 2 swords on her back. She's got daggers everywhere. She wants to be seen for the threat that she is. Quote, Grave had immediately taken note of the broadsword hovering over one of her shoulders and the assortment of gleaming, wicked-looking blades strapped to her hips. Meanwhile, Grave is completely ill-prepared with his 3 daggers. He's been waiting a week. He's convinced Celaena doesn't even know that he's the one who killed Nehemia. He thinks about how he should have left a calling card.
Yeah.
He's such a man.
Just to like, in case people are like, sometimes they're so hard on men. In case we're like, because I was about to be like, the audacity of men, this is such a man statement. And people might be like, that's not a man. Okay, I don't want to do the whole hashtag not every man. However, there is a thread that was viral this week, Amy. And it was men saying, do you think you could be a female professional MMA fighter? And every man said yes. Almost all the men said, easy, that I could take her out. No problem. Like men who have probably never been in a true fist fight. And even if they have, are nowhere near professional, think that they could very easily, to the point where they're like, oh, it'd be cruel to do it because of how much I could take her. Yeah. So when we say the complacency and the audacity of men, we're not coming up with this out of nowhere.
Yeah. Oh my God, that makes me so mad. As someone who has a friend who is a professional fighter.
You do?
From church. You've never met her.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
Yeah, she just went pro this week, I think.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she moves faster than 90% of the men who probably said, oh yeah, I can do it. No, you can't.
I didn't even go anywhere near professional when I did my when I was like 4 years MMA. I knew then I could kick a lot of men's asses, and I was like not even strong or good. I mean, I was good, but not professional good. So it's just this 3 dagger bullshit. It's like, it is such a man move.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, Grave is cocky, not only in his complacency, but in this bravado, this brave front he puts forward to mask his cowardly actions and his fear. It is only when Grave reaches a dead end in his escape route that he starts thinking of fighting back. Quote, he'd soon have her begging for mercy before he cut her into little pieces. Drawing one of his daggers, he smiled and turned to the open street behind him. Like, bullshit. Bullshit. You've been running away until now.
I know, right? Like, suddenly it's like, I could take her as I'm pissing myself.
Later on, quote, Grave surveyed the buildings surrounding them. The stone was too slippery and there were no windows. One step at a time, she approached. He would really enjoy making her suffer as much as the princess had. Only after checking to make sure there are no windows and the stone is too slippery for him to climb. Okay, buddy. Yeah. Like, he's looking for an escape. He doesn't see one. So he's convincing himself he's going to destroy Celaena so that he isn't afraid of her.
Yeah.
He's not capable of acknowledging his own cowardice.
Yeah.
And doesn't think it consciously. We don't see it on the page in words, but we see it in his actions. And for me, it's a chef's kiss to SJM because it is so good.
It's so good. And for me, I feel like it's so believable.
Yeah.
There's this moment as Celaena closes in on Grave, quote, still she approached, and the sword at her back whined as she drew it. The moonlight glinted off the long blade. Probably a gift from her princely lover. Now, this is all of Grave's perspective, and I like how he was like, it was a gift from her lover. But right now, it's showing that it's Elena, the moonlight, on here. And I kind of like what you're saying, that it's Elena supporting these actions of her and just being like, yeah, bitch, spiral, go off. I want you to lose it, be unhinged, you know?
Yeah.
Like the true mama goddess that she is.
Goddess, devil, who knows? What I like about the sword whining, it makes me think back on Fleetfoot, who is whining, and it feels like the two different sides of Celaena, right? The Fleetfoot, the good, the sword, the assassin.
Yeah. The whole scene is dramatic. This whole entire moment is full of drama, which I love. Quote, "She stopped a few feet away and sheathed her sword. She drew a long jeweled dagger. He swore at her, the filthiest word he could think of." I love the ornateness of the jewelry because, it's almost like you can't take it seriously because of how pretty and bedazzled it is.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's almost like we were saying that she removed the feminine. And this is like leaning back into this. So it's kind of like this actually is her, there's this blingy prettiness that's happening that she's like, yep, that's me. I love it. And it's just, again, a counterbalance to him saying a really bad word to describe her, which is probably just cunt.
Yep. Yes.
I gave the hard T. Cunt. Cunt. Otherwise, we're Californians. We drop the T's.
It's true.
And we can't even say cunt correctly.
We can't.
Say it.
Cunt.
Oh, now you added that T.
I did. I have emphasized. I didn't even draw it out, but I did make sure to say it.
Do you feel like twat is at the same degree of offensive?
No.
I don't either. My mom thinks it's jarring when I've said twat in front of her.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She was like, that's a bad word.
Maybe because my mom used it a lot.
All right, let's wrap up 35.
The last we get of Grave is a reminder of his cowardice. And I pointed out because of how the narrative is so good at conveying what we need to know about his character without spelling it out. It's just re-emphasizing my point from earlier. Quote, "Maybe he could feign innocence. He could talk his way out of this. Convince this arrogant whore he had nothing to do with it." He has to put Celaena down.
And it always comes back to sexual, diminishing her through sex, saying her princely lover, calling her a whore. Men cannot insult women without bringing sex into it in one way or another.
It's true. It's true. And yet we're able to insult men so easily.
I can be a poet with my insults.
Now, as I mentioned, at the start of Graves' point of view, he lamented not leaving a calling card so Celaena would know it was him. And now he's like, I can convince her that I didn't do it. He's just so despicable. It's just so good.
It's great.
That, and to your point, Jack, from earlier, it's so that we don't regret Celaena killing him. Right?
Absolutely.
SJM has convinced us that Grave deserves this.
And I don't disagree. But then the question's going to be a little bit later, just because Grave deserves it doesn't mean that her act was not immoral.
We'll get to that later.
Until then, everyone, let's take a sip. We are in chapter 36, and we are now in Dorian's perspective. And Celaena walks into the council room, and it is a mirror to the start of this book. Quote, "The doors to his father's council room were thrown open, and Celaena prowled in, her dark cape billowing behind her." Very reminiscent to when Celaena came in at the start of the book, pretending to have killed the target that the king gave her. Only this time, it's a real murder. And it's coming to fruition of what was supposed to be at the beginning of this book.
Yeah, and we see this all play out from Dorian's perspective. And so we're not necessarily understanding what Celaena's thinking at this point, like we did in chapter 2 when we first saw this. Right now, quote, "Dorian could only stare at her. This was different from the feral creature she'd become the night Nehemia had died. What she was right now, the edge on which she was balancing, word helped them all." Now, I think it's important that we see this from Dorian's point of view. Right now, we can't trust Chaol. We're going to see him begin to doubt Celaena. So we have to see Celaena at the edge of the precipice from Dorian's point of view. Now, at the start of the book, he did judge her for something she didn't do. But I think this is even different from that. I think now he understands maybe why she's done what she has done, but he sees the danger in that rather than judging her. And Again, this is important because of the interaction Dorian and Celaena will have later in the library when Celaena is starting to come back to herself. There is something very special that's going to connect Dorian and Celaena. And I think for the first time, he can truly understand her.
Agreed. Especially at this point, Chaol has told him the truth about everything, including Celaena's pretending to kill people. So I think he kind of can come to this moment of gravity knowing, A, Celaena has chosen to let people live when they're innocent. B, she was ready to kill Chaol. And C, Nehemia died, and that's messed him up not just as much as Celaena, but has messed him up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Celaena and the king have this moment together, and it's meant to be super terrifying because it's just like, oh no, they get along. Quote, then Celaena and the king of Adarlan smiled at each other, and it was the most terrifying thing Dorian had ever seen. In a way, it's almost like what would have happened if Celaena was willing to do what the king wanted her to do. I mean, she could have turned evil very easily, you know? Like, she could have been saying like, all right, well, you know, whatever, you conquered my nation, you know, lean into it. But it's also shows how Dorian understands how terrifying his father is, because it's almost like if Celaena is willing to stoop to this level, then that is terrifying. Or if they're both willing to work together, it is terrifying. There's a lot of things that are worth being scared of. Dorian, though, is absolutely sick of what he has seen. And it's not when the head shows up. It's not when the head rolls around. It's immediately after Celaena and his father smiling at one another. Quote, Dorian felt his gore rise, not just for the severed head and her blood-stiffened clothing, but also for the fact that he could not, for the life of him, find the girl he had loved anywhere in her face. And from Chaol's expression, he knew his friend felt the same. We've talked about it before where Dorian has identified Celaena as the girl he once loved. And it's a title. And it's a title of ownership, right? It's not like Celaena within her own identity. Like, it's, I don't recognize Celaena, the soul that I've gotten to know. I don't recognize the woman I loved. It's not an ownership. I'm not saying it's a claiming, but it is a layer of disconnect of who she is and how he viewed her. But I think he kind of gets it. Like, this is not who he thought he loved.
What I think we're seeing happen is we're seeing the male gaze being undone.
Oh, love a good undoing of male gaze. Let's bring the trauma.
And, you know, Dorian for the first time, not for the first time, but it's really solidifying in his brain that maybe the Celaena he thought he knew wasn't the full picture or wasn't even the picture, right? And I think that's important because from now on, he will approach Celaena and other women with the intent of knowing them.
Yeah.
Instead of imagining what they are.
Oh. Calm down there, Amy. That is some revolutionary thinking. All right. Slow down with that. If men find the recipe to that, they will rule the world that they already rule. Because this is the longest day that has ever happened, Celaena decides to go pay a visit to Archer, and she's still in her gross clothes. I would like to come back to this. She left through the sewers, through the poop water. Okay, she went through the poop water. She lifted up the gate and it said poop fell down. And then she went through the poop water. And then she went through the poopy sewer place of the town. And then she killed someone, got blood all over her. And then with his decapitated head, went back to the castles, decided to leave back into the city. So she's gross. Just, I want to emphasize that. Now let's look at this lovely quote. Quote, she would digest all that later, much later. She's talking about her clothes here. For now, she stared at Archer, then looked down at her blood-stiffened clothing. It's almost like it's dawning on her now where she's like, I think I smell. And, you know, and also much, much worse. I think it's super interesting that Celaena is wearing the clothes that she is wearing when she killed Grave. I know I'm joking around about it, but I think it's part of the mourning process where you can't let something go. killing Grave was a big moment for her in getting justice for Nehemia. So getting past that is just another thing to mark Nehemia's death. And now that that's done, that's another thing that's happened. Just a little bit on the side of mourning. And if people don't know, and hopefully you won't have to know for a very long time, but there's moments of mourning that people don't realize where you have the moment of death, right? And then you have when they are actually buried, and then you have getting rid of the things. But even things like if you move, and you have to sell the house, that's something my family had to go through this year with a death in the family. And once the house is sold, that's another part of mourning. And then once this other thing the other paperwork has finished, now that's another thing that's like, oh my God, this is putting me farther and farther away from the person I loved. And this is just like another one of those things where it was a to-do list and now it's done. And now it puts her farther away from Nehemia. So I think grief is captured very well here.
I think that's an excellent point. I didn't even think about it from that perspective. I thought about how Celaena doesn't even care to clean herself before she sees Archer because Archer doesn't deserve to see her clean.
Yeah. And that too.
I think I think both are true.
Yeah.
And Archer is injured. She's disgusting. She could give him an infection. She does not care.
No.
She wants him gone. And you know what? He deserves that.
It's like, don't piss me off. I will touch your wound. And I am covered in shit right now, literally.
Yep.
We then shift over to Chaol's point of view, and he is in a meeting with his dad. Quote, "The small breakfast room in his father's suite was sunny and silent, pleasant even, but Chaol remained in the doorway." This is the total opposite of what they're feeling, and I love that this is super intense breakfast and a lot of bad blood that's between them is happening in this bright sunny room, and it's happening during breakfast, which is the happiest meal of the day. That's not up for debate.
Yeah.
Right? There's no other meal where it's acceptable to drink a bottomless amount. No one says, "Hey, would you like to go to get
bottomless dinner?"
Bottomless dinner. And they might be like, no, but even then it's $4 margaritas and you get a bunch. It's not bottomless. So breakfast is the happiest meal of the day. Come at me, bro. And instead they're having this very intense conversation. And I do want to point out that Chaol is in the threshold. He doesn't want to fully enter. And at the same time, he's going to enter. He has to go inside. He is going to pretend to eat this happy breakfast. I really want breakfast now.
I know, I do too, but I've ordered Thai food for dinner. So
oh, nice.
I think what I love about this sunny breakfast room is that it's a harsh reminder that life goes on.
Yeah.
Even when you're experiencing heartbreak, even when you're mourning the loss of a friend, even when you're hurting, life doesn't stop for you or anybody else. And at the same time, I feel like this is a room that symbolizes the comfort that his father enjoys, the power his father enjoys, and a life that Chaol has left behind. And now he's being forced back into it. And he ultimately does enter the room and eat breakfast with his father. I think foreshadows his willingness to bargain with his father later on to get Celaena out of Rifthold. Because there was a moment earlier in this book that Chaol was like, my father never comes here, and I don't know what I would do if he did show up. Good thing I'm never going to have to do that. Never mind. He's
never
here.
Say never.
I also, I didn't point it out a lot, but I do feel like, and maybe I'm making this up, I feel like the sun has been used a lot in the context of Celaena and Chaol together.
Yeah.
And I bring that up because this encounter between Chaol and his father symbolically reminds me of some relationship similarities between Chaol and Celaena. And I'll get into that a little bit.
Interesting that you say that, because we start to kind of get this idea from Chaol that he's realizing that there's other mysteries around Celaena, and the fact that we are getting these more intense inklings is the fact that he's with his father when it's happening. And I'm going to kind of go into this whole, going back to Emily's, the listener's note where, he is someone who is still serving the patriarchy. Well, who did he learn all this from? His father. So it makes sense that he would start getting these hints and hunches about Celaena while in the presence of his father.
Yeah.
Because God forbid a girlie has some secrets.
Not allowed.
No. Quote, and there were other mysteries lurking around her. Mysteries that he'd better start figuring out if he was to stand a chance of surviving her wrath. What his men had reported about the body that had been found in that alley. It's not even to find the truth about her. It's to find out the truth about, so that he can survive her wrath. Why does he feel like he has to survive her wrath? We already know that she's not going to kill him, and maybe he's still worried about that, but she's not the king's champion. She's not serving the patriarchy. She's not serving the king. She's serving her own desires, and, that involves murdering and torturing someone. But it's just, it's all beginning to unravel for me.
It really is. And quite frankly, this is not someone who's in love with someone else. Right? We can't forget the Chaol we met in Throne of Glass always suspected there was some darkness within Celaena and has always been looking for it. And he's forgotten for a moment that there's darkness in Celaena. But the second it rears its head again, it's like nothing between them ever happened.
Yeah.
And I will let you say your next thought before I go into my rant.
It's frustrating. I just saw your... Damn, that's a long rant. All right, bring it. Okay, so I always love... I don't know why I wrote that. I love emotional manipulation. His dad is not afraid to emotionally manipulate. And who does he use to emotionally manipulate Chaol? His mother. Quote, his father folded his hands in front of him. After a long silence, he said quietly, your mother misses you. She wants you home. The breath was knocked out of him. It's emotional manipulation, but we already know because of what Chaol's described is that his mother, he views his mother as weak, as very submissive, as very passive. And she is what a woman is probably expected to be in this society. And his dad is still able to use that against Chaol.
Yes, absolutely. I have to give kudos to SJM. The manipulation in this scene is just next level. And this is where I think she's hitting her stride in this book. And what it comes down to at the end of the day is knowledge is power. And, I could get into spoilers. I'm not going to, but we don't know yet the extent to which Chaol's father is withholding from Chaol and using that against Chaol to manipulate him into doing what his father wants. So that's just one thing. If your first time reading this book, we don't know that yet, but we can see exactly what his father is doing. This weak woman you love but hate to love, misses you, wants you home. You should never have chosen for yourself what you wanted. You should have just complied with me. Now, his father is going to do it again when it comes to the topic of Celaena. He starts the breakfast asking Chaol if he's with anyone, and then later reveals he knows that Chaol has been with Celaena. Quote, there was that gleam in his eyes that told Chaol just how much his father already knew. Now, I'm going to suggest, and bear with me, Celaena in Chaol's mind is equivalent to his father. Because she is not his mother. She is not weak. She is not complacent. She is strong-willed. She's willing to challenge him. And she can be manipulative. And I think that, to your point earlier, Jack, is why he begins to suspect Celaena, or starts saying there's more to this, because he is in front of the man for whom there's always more. For whom there is always knowledge that is being withheld.
Good point. I love it. I love it.
Now, Chaol's father continues to pull every trick possible from the book to manipulate Chaol's emotions, so much so that he even disparages Chaol's honor. Quote, Do I need to convince you you failed to protect the princess, and that has created the possibility of war? The assassin who was warming your bed now wants nothing more than to spill your innards on the ground. What's left for you here except more shame?
Literally, that's like what Celaena would say to him. If she could. If she was like willing to have a conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The thing that Chaol keeps remembering is the moment Celaena said, "You will always be my enemy."
Mm-hmm.
Chaol, we know, doesn't think very highly of himself. And we see the verbal abuse. Now, on one hand, we could say SJM's trying to help us have empathy for Chaol and is trying to help us not completely despise him in this moment. And so I do, there are moments where I have to ask myself, he's being put down, he's being doubted. Is he a victim of generational trauma?
Yeah.
And is this trauma something he's using against Celaena? Because that's his only coping mechanism. That's what he's learned. Quote, and though he didn't wait to hear what his father had to say, Chaol left with a sinking feeling that he'd somehow just stepped right into his father's snare. Chaol does not play games, but his dad does, and Celaena does. And Chaol's just not fit for it. And I think it just continues to solidify in his brain that there is more going on with Celaena.
I love it. So, listeners, we are now able to have editors, which has been amazing. But now I'm super aware that the editors are editing this and that some of them might be men. So as I go into this next quote, this next bullet point, sorry, editor. I personally love when men suffer for their women. Quote, he wouldn't let his servants change the sheets on his bed because they smelled like her, because he wanted to sleep dreaming that she was still lying beside him. I love a heartbroken man. I love a guy who is pining. I love a guy who knows that he's fucked up, and yet he is kind of resistant of fucking up, you know what I mean? But what he's missing actually is the feminine, is the sex, is the comfort.
He's sleeping in sheets that have his jizz on it and lady cum. And it's just dirty.
When you say it like that, sometimes, Amy, it's too exhausting to change the sheets right away. Okay? I can't help boys are messy. I'm so sorry to these editors. They now know so much more about us.
I mean, they can always opt out if they need to.
This is the moment where they tap out.
They're like, okay, I can't edit anymore.
Thank you for listening to part 1 of this week's episode of Book Talk for Book Talk with Jack and Amy. Stick around for part 2, which airs on Thursday.
We encourage you to rate and subscribe to our show on your preferred podcast listening platform. We would also love to hear your thoughts based on today's conversation. You can submit your comments to our forum at booktalkforbooktalk.com for a chance to have your feedback discussed during a future mini episode or a Patreon exclusive episode.
If you're enjoying the podcast, please visit our website, booktalkforbooktalk.com, to view our latest merch and learn about supporting the show through Patreon or Venmo. You can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube at the handle Book Talk for Book Talk. Bye.
Bye. Growing up, my parents were obsessive about the chore charts and the stickers that we got to use to track our chores and what each completed chore was worth in money.
And now with Acorns Early, you can apply that to today's kids with modern technology. It's genius. Acorns Early is a smart debit card and money app that grows kids' money skills as they grow up.
Start with the in-app chores tracker and teach your kids the value of $1.
Then let your kids set up their own savings goals, start building healthy money habits early.
Make them work for that PS5.
Absolutely.
Kids can spend what they've earned with their own customizable debit card. giving them the extra sense of independence.
Plus, with Acorns Early, spending limits, and real-time spending notifications, parents always stay in control.
This is definitely something I would use if I had kids, because I love nothing more than teaching hard work for reward.
This is what's going to happen when I have kids. You're going to be teaching my kids with Acorns Early.
That's exactly right.
Ready to teach your kids the smart way to earn, save, and spend? Get your first month on us when you head to acornsearly.com/booktalk or download the Acorns Early app.
That's 1 month free when you sign up at acornsearly.com/booktalk. BOOKTALK.
Acorns Early Card is issued by Community Federal Savings Bank, member FDIC, pursuant to license by MasterCard International. Free trial for new subscribers only. Subscription fee starting from $5 per month unless canceled. Terms apply at acorns.com/early terms.
This show is sponsored by Liquid IV.
I'll give you one guess into what's my Stanley right now.
Probably something with electrolytes, like Liquid IV.
It's not even funny how true that is. Liquid IV is scientifically formulated to help replenish electrolytes and fluids lost from sweat or exercise, which is perfect because I am both sweating and exercising this summer.
It has 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, plus 8 vitamins and nutrients, all in a single stick. And guess what? They've got Orange Vanilla Dream Hydration right now. It is so nostalgic. Makes me think of summer instantly.
The fact that it has 100% daily value of 4 essential B vitamins, B3, B5, B6, B12, it's an excellent source of vitamin C, and it makes me just feel like I've really accomplished a lot just by drinking one of these.
Powered by Liquid IV Hydroscience, Liquid IV replaces necessary nutrients lost from everyday dehydration, and it doesn't matter if you live somewhere dry or humid, trust me, you're dehydrated.
Just 1 stick in 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone.
It is always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. And if you're like me and are sensitive to everything, it is fantastic.
Savor the last bits of summer with Liquid IV. Tear, pour, live more. Go to liquidiv.com and get 20% off your first order with code BOOKTALK at checkout.
That's 20% off your first order and code BOOKTALK, BOOKTALK, at liquidiv.com.